Bum, 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 ba, bum, ba, bum, ba, bum. Welcome back, my friends, to Bjjbrick Quick. This is your quick jiu-jitsu podcast. My name is Byron. Today, we're talking about copying from the pros. What's that mean? I'm going to talk about that for a second. So, I'm not talking about just like, I saw this professional A do this technique, I want to do that. I'm talking about trying to bring an entire game plan. Like, what would this person do in this situation? What does this person do in this situation? So the first thing you have to do if you want to do this, and this is a pretty good thing to do as far as advancing your jiu-jitsu and kind of getting a pre-made game plan that is known to be successful, is you need to pick the right professional. And I use that word loosely. You could certainly pick a teammate who you look up to, who maybe grapples a little bit better than you do, who seems to have a nice game plan. So the pro might be a blue belt to your white belt, or might be one of the best grapplers on the planet. So you need to pick the right person. If you're 100 pounds and you're picking somebody who's 230, that may not be the right matchup. If you're picking a pro who's very flexible, or maybe one that just has an endless gas tank, you need these attributes. If your attributes don't really match up well, you're going to give yourself a hard time with getting this to work. The benefit here really is that they have figured out what to do from certain situations. And you're going to find when you get a professional who has an end game in mind, they want to end jiu-jitsu from the mount or from the back, or they have an overall goal of I'm getting this choke from the back when I roll. That sounds very specific, but they can do it. So every part of their jiu-jitsu is going to put the match in a funnel, and it's going to end up where they want it to go. They'll do a particular type of guard pass that ends up leading their opponent to turn a certain way, that ends up with their back take. They'll do a certain takedown that starts the guard pass off a little bit easier. They'll do a particular sweep. When they do the sweep, it ends up, sweep guard to guard maybe, but the guard is right into that same guard pass they're already good at. And this is definitely a nice thing to incorporate. And I can't tell you should start with the end game in mind or start with the beginning. Start with what would really interest you the most. If you want to emulate someone's, finishing techniques, but you can never get there, maybe you should rewind a little bit. And when you have problems, executing these things, which we all do on our training partners, they're always going to give us troubles. There's answers out there. If you pick a professional who's got, dozens and dozens of matches to watch, start watching them. Start looking for things that happen in common with what you do. What are their answers? What do they do when the opponent uses this type of guard against them? If you pick a teammate, here's a big advantage. Just ask them. You can even give specifics. Say, my guard passing is working pretty good, but when I get in Joe's guard, I get stuck in half guard. How are you beating Joe's type of half guard? He sweeps me every time, and they're going to give you some solutions. And not that you want to pick on Joe and get a game specific to him, but people know these answers. And you're learning jiu-jitsu, and ultimately you're going to push Joe to have a different take on what he's trying to do, possibly. So the answers are out there. That's one big benefit. I'm assuming most of your teammates aren't in the top 10, grapplers on the planet, but they're in the room with you. odds are there's some really good jiu-jitsu in the room with you, especially if there's better jiu-jitsu than yours. So I think it's a little easier to pick a teammate than pick the actual professional that you get to watch video on, and you may be able to hit him up on Instagram or Facebook and ask a question here or there. Maybe. Your teammate will give you mat time. Either way, both of them are good. I've definitely done this. And it's also kind of fun to be grappling and think, you know what, I'm going to start grappling like this particular person now. And you're going to change everything you're doing. And maybe midway through the roll, you grapple like another person. That's confusing to your opponent or your training partner. You just totally changed what you were doing. There's definitely been a way that I've gained some pretty big jumps in my game. I'd like to hear what you guys think about this. Hope you have a great day, my friend, and stay sweaty.